Hello, everyone. I'm back here again with.
General CJG here, and this
And
time we have something.
oh yes, my favorite shill website. They've got
Whatculture.
whatculture.com. They got a very ignorant and interesting article
I mean,
written
if it
by
was a bit,
written by some dude named Tanner Fox.
yeah, guy box. And this article was posted in August 18.
So about a year ago.
Yep, so fairly recent. Shall we get started?
All right.
Yuri, we do this.
Disney's acquisition of the Star Wars property in 2014 held both great and terrible implications for longtime fans of the franchise. On one hand, was the guarantee that Lucas would never again pollute his creation with more abominable prequel movies or unnecessary special editions.
Of course, he has to shit on the prequels
Yep,
and the special editions.
he could have said divisive.
He could have, but no, he wanted to make clear his prequels and the special editions.
Yep, his bullshit bias. Yet
Yep.
on the other hand, there was an entire generation of ancillary Star Wars content that would have to be dealt with before Disney could move the series forward.
Hmm. So is he in the semi-expanded universe?
Yep.
Hmm.
You want to read the next one?
Well, I think tackle all this page right now.
All right. As a result, decades of comic books, novels, and video games, collectively referred to as the Star Wars Extended Universe. No, it is Expanded Universe, not Extended Universe. Get it right.
Oh, and you want to know what the funny part is of this first page of the article? In the second paragraph, it says extended universe, expanded universe. So which one is it?
So this crap article is not only going to be bullshit, both with its content, but it's poorly written too, and poorly edited.
Yep. Yep. That is cool. Indeed.
So anyway, was decanonized so that new studios wouldn't have to worry about tiptoeing around old obscure lore. Though this meant that epics like Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy of novels would become little more than aggrandized fan fiction. It also meant a ton of awful schlock would be getting the axe.
Awful schlock. Yeah, the same awful schlock that you have in Disney Star, which is far worse. Yeah, right.
Yep.
So, the final paragraph.
All right. The EU, now referred to as Star Wars Legends by Disney, has a reputation for ridiculous plot threads and totally unnecessary stories. I mean, it's not like the new canon is.
The new Canon has a shit ton of those. Like
Yeah, literally.
70-20% of it is literally that. Hell, considering how much they retcon and reboot almost every now and then with their stories, especially with the movies, the totally unnecessary stories argument is almost 100%.
Yeah.
So far worse than the EU, like super far worse. But yeah, so finish that paragraph.
From evil clones to invading extragalactic alien races to the poorly written deaths of beloved characters. Here are a few things from the expanded universe that we're glad are no longer considered canon.
Ugh. Oh man. From the sounds of things, I have some expectations of what we're going to tackle. So,
All right. On to the next
let's
one.
go with the first one. Yep. Okay, this is more my
Number 10, Masters of Terras Kase.
Yep. So, I think I'll tackle. So, Let's go. So number 10 is Masters of Terrascasi.
Yes.
Star Wars, Masters of Terrascasi was a terrible attempt to merge the galaxy far, far away with the tournament fighter video game. Though the property seems perfect for such an adaptation, Masters of Terrascasi was one of the most disliked original PlayStation games ever to release. I mean, I cannot disagree with
Yeah,
that. That
it's
is actually
true.
true.
It is one of the worst Star Wars games, period, as well.
Yeah, so not much to comment on there. That is true. So, the players should have been treated to spectacular semi-fan fiction characters like Darth Vader, Darth Sidious, Luke Skywalker, Yoda, and so on. These fights were made ridiculous by the fact that lightsabers in the game were about as effective totally unprotected combatants while doling out very minor damage penalty. It made the series' most iconic weapon a total joke.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you actually cut out for a minute.
Oh, on what part?
When you're talking about the lightsabers being as effective as harsh language.
Oh, well, let's just say that this guy says that they do very minor damage to unprotected combatants and that they're a joke. The series' most iconic weapon is a total joke.
Okay, so first off, gameplay footage is not canon. It's not meant to be taken
Mm-hmm.
literally or seriously.
Mm-hmm. Not in the
So the way the
least.
lightsabers are handling the game, it's just video game mechanics.
Yep, indeed. I mean, if this guy's going to say that this fighting game is effective, you might as well say the same thing for something like Star Wars Episode 3, the video game, the versus mode, or hell, even Soul Calibur 4, even if that's just Star Wars characters in another game, but still. So so there's that. And not to
So
mention there's
like,
plenty of oh, what's up?
so he's literally trying to use that as an excuse, like, oh, I'm glad it's not canon anymore because of something that was never canon in the first place.
Lol. Yeah, this is stupid. So, okay, let's go to the next paragraph. So, next paragraph. What's more, most of the characters, including Arden Lin and Hor, the Tusken Raider, were made up for the game. What could possibly be worse than going toe-to-toe with the Dark Lord of the Sith unarmed, going up against him as a Tusken Raider with a ridiculous name? What do you got to say, Aaron?
Well, yeah, horror is kind of
Yeah,
strange.
yeah, stupid. It is
But
ridiculous. I have
again,
to.
you're complaining about a Tusken Raider. When you complain about Darth Vader and the Tusken Raider fighting unarmed, again, it's just video game mechanics. It's not meant to be taken as literal, actual canon for what happened in the Star Wars universe.
Can you imagine if EA actually made a fighting game? I mean, considering how much gameplay is canon in this Star Wars, except Lego Star Wars, of course, and spin-offs, but in the Battlefront games and Jedi Fallen Order, the gameplay is canon. So imagine if they did a Star Wars tournament fighting game.
So wait, if the gameplay is literally canon, does that mean that when you pick up items, there's actually in the Star Wars universe, there's like physical, actual like text things?
Well, tell that to EA, who said that Battlefront 2 they couldn't implement the cosmetic microtransactions because it would well not cosmetic microtransactions, cosmetic customization. We can't implement it because it would totally this it would wreck the canon of the game. It would wreck the canon of the Star Wars universe. So therefore, we couldn't implement it in the game even though Rey and Kylo Ren are in the Clone Wars and the Galactic Civil War era,
Did they
and
time
vice versa.
travel? Well, I mean, it makes sense. Time travel is in the new canon, so perhaps they time traveled. So they have
Yeah.
it has its own internal logic for why it happened.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, I mean, in that sense, then yeah, I guess they could make a tournament fighter game and the gameplay is canon.
Oh my god.
Just by reading this, I would actually like them to do it, just so we can stick it up the ass to those stupid EU haters and Disney Star Wars
Oh,
fans.
yes.
Indeed. So, final sentence, so we can finally go to the next one. So, this PS1 flop is still not canon, so the fighting style referenced in the game made a small appearance in the recent Solo film. Could this mean EA will soon be rolling out a sequel? Hopefully not. A sequel, not, but I would actually like to see a Star Wars fighting game.
Yeah.
So, there's that to consider. So, yep. Anyway, so you ready, Ira, for the next one?
All right. Number
Next one
9,
is
the death of Chewbacca. Oh, of course.
okay. I learned enough to respond to every single paragraph because I just read Vector Prime. Great book, by the way. So, Aaron, begin.
All right, published. Oh, sorry, I need to get rid of ads. They keep popping up. All right, published in October of 1999, Star Wars Vector Prime was an entry into a series of post-Return of the Jedi novels, which explored a galactic invasion orchestrated by the Zhan Vong. You spelled Yuuzhan Vong right. I mean wrong.
Yep, wrong.
An alien species originating from outside of the Star Wars galaxy, which harbored an intense hatred for technology. Though a pretty neat concept in theory, many fans totally despise the storyline.
Okay, first of all, from the first book I just read, the concept is great, and actually, Vector Prime is actually going pretty good. And let me tell you, the stakes, the high stakes, the stakes in Star Wars in that book, they're already set. They're already showing the power of Asian Bog. Let me tell you, they're the highest I've ever seen, far high than anything in Disney Star Wars. The sequel trilogy pales in comparison to this. These stakes are so high that fucking Kylo Ren would piss his pants if he fights against a single Yushan Bong soldier face to face. I can guarantee you that one. Understand?
Oh,
Yeah.
what do you think about him saying many fans totally despise the storyline?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I bet your ass that him saying that probably, well, he probably hates the storyline. But what I can say is this hatred for the Isambon, I can guarantee you it came out more. It's somewhat more recent because back then, if it was hated as in totally despised, wouldn't the series have been canceled
Yeah, why
midway?
did
Why did they not?
the book series sell very well?
And why did they make more comics of the Yushan Bong in like 5 years later, 2009? Why did we that one?
Basically, when he means fans, he's just talking about expanded universe haters, not
Or
EU
Disney Star Wars
fans.
fanboys.
Yep.
So, yep, there's that. Anyway, next paragraph, because now this is getting interesting.
All right. Han and Chewie were caught up in a desperate attempt to evacuate the planet of Cernipidal.
Serpidol.
Cernipidal.
There's no
Before
E, there's no I. It's Serpidol.
Cernpidal, all right. Before it could be destroyed by the Vong. However, as the crew struggled to escape before the enemies flung a moon into the planet, Chewbacca made a heroic effort to save Han's son, Anakin Solo, which ultimately resulted in him being stranded on the planet.
Yep, I mean that was what happened. Though actually Han was trying his hardest to get Chewie. Unfortunately, the planet was collapsing. The ground. Well, okay. First of all, this is a little bit of spoilers, but the paragraph already kind of labeled it, so I might just get specific. Let's just say the ground it was going down and down because apparently the planet was getting hit hard by the moon. So the Falcon was having no choice but to levitate more and more and more to the air, get high because of it. So and when it was almost going to impact, Anakin had no choice but to push the throttle in the Falcon because he was on the bridge after Han got his son. He went to the bridge and he had no choice but to put the throttle. So leaving Chewbacca behind, and Han was watching him before the inevitable death. So let's just say that moment was definitely one of the toughest I read. It was very emotional. So there's that. Oh, but speaking of emotional, let's see what he has to say in the final paragraph.
Oh god. Killing off a mainstay Star Wars character is a guaranteed way to get to the top of fans' naughty lists. And Vector Prime was, at best, extremely controversial when it released. Though it may have had a few Star Wars supporters. A few? Again, if it only had a few, then why did it sell well? And why did they make more books? Jeez. So anyway, most fans of the... Sorry, it keeps shifting around for no dumb reason. So anyway, most fans of the franchise are likely to be thrilled that the expiration date on everyone's favorite Wookiee has been lifted.
Okay, first of all, him saying killing off a mainstay Star Wars to get to the top of the fans' naughty list. Well, yeah, Disney Star Wars is right now on the super naughty list with deaths. That's one thing. And second, this death, compared to those stupid deaths in Disney Star Wars, is far more emotional, far more impactful, far more serving the story compared to those two other deaths. Han's death was literally made just because Harrison Ford wanted the character to die for good, and the movie was an
Exactly.
episode 4 2.0. So Rey's old mentor, which in that case was Han, had to fucking die. So you could see it coming. You could see that death coming. So in a sense, really get too much emotional. I only had a tear, just one tear. Whereas this one, I was going to nearly cry reading it. I was almost crying. I was tearing a lot. I was almost going to go into freaking cry. That literally was very emotional. And also, this dev also gave Console a character arc. Chewbacca has no fucking character arc. He has no character arc
There's
in the sequel
there's
trilogy.
there's not much you can do with his r sounds.
You can't do nothing. He's not even using body language to express his grief for Han Solo or anything. At least not in the last. And definitely, so he's not doing shit. If you ask me, both him and Han should have died in the Force Awakens. Because if you kill off Han, then you can't do anything with Chewie. And they did jack shit with him in the Last Jedi. He was only the poor Joker,
He
and
pretty much became
also
Rey's pet.
yeah. Well, no, I think it's the Borg's pet and Ray's cab driver.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So yeah, that's one way to totally shit on Chewbacca. If you ask me, if you ask me, his death in Vector Prime honored his character a lot more compared to his portrayal in the Star Wars trilogy. This Star Wars trilogy, he's just as fucking worthless as say if you he's as worthless as the fucking Force, but then again, he's a poor Joker. But I would argue he's just as worthless as Snoke now.
Literally,
He's
and not to mention, it's
Hmm.
so funny how people literally, like EU haters bitch and they moan about Chewbacca's death, but they were completely silent when Han died.
Han and Luke Skywalker. Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So
And they actually
I
try to defend
mean,
it, being like, "Oh, but it was so heroic."
heroic. Look heroic. The fucker was a fucking coward. He stayed on the fucking island doing nothing. If he was going to die anyway, he should have just gone. He
Yes.
would have gone. He would have actually done more damage, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you ask me, no. So if you ask me, no, that was not something heroic. That was just a stupid coward's way.
It would have
And
been
that
so
stupid
much more
coward's.
impactful if he actually flew there and physically fought them.
Yep. And if he was going to go the coward's way, he would have at the very least survived. But no, he didn't. So it was worthless. And as for Han's death, I already said it. It was predictable. You could have seen it coming. Luke's death,
Yep.
absolutely stupid. Totally stupid. Oh, and another thing, the reactions of everyone in Vector Prime of death of Chewbacca. None of the reactions in The Force Awakens about Han's death were that impactful. It was just Leia hugging Rey, and also kind of breaking down a little bit the moment the moment Han died and Chewbacca shooting at Kylo Ren and exploding it. But let me tell you, that's nothing compared to what happened to Chewie's death in Back Reply. Han Solo specifically, he was eyes open. I'm not gonna get to detail, Iron, because I do want you to read it yourself. But let me tell you, Han took it hard, the hardest. He took it the hardest one.
I bet.
He almost lost all sense of logic in some ways, and his character is actually somewhat different. He's no longer the somewhat cocky, confident smuggler from the old days, the OT. He literally no longer feels that confidence. That how do I say it? He no longer feels like that. He literally right now is like kind of in this kind of breaking down, kind of not even sure if he not even sure if he should even it's something, dude. You have to read it. But
Can't
there were
wait to
other
get to that.
reactions. Yeah, there were other reactions. Anakin Solo feels guilty as hell for leaving Chewbacca behind. Mostly because Han scolded the shit out of him when they were leaving Serpentine. So yeah, you have to read that. The reactions are insane. There's something.
All right.
So yeah,
Let's go to the
sorry
next
for.
one.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I went on a tangent.
Oh my
Literally.
god, number 8. Skippy the Jedi droid. Ugh.
Uh,
Before we, get to that, we'll read what we're gonna say. We gotta read it.
what did you say,
Oh, we'll get to,
Aaron?
saying what we're gonna say about to counter why it shouldn't be on this list. But before we do that, we gotta read this.
Yeah, read it.
Skippy the Jedi Droid was an astromech featured in the comic Star Wars Tales #1, notable for his ability to use the Force. While such things were almost always left to traditionally sentient beings in the Star Wars universe, this little machine designated R5D4 somehow had held a mastery of this complex and amorphous property.
Oh man, I think
Oh, what were you gonna say?
let's do it. Continue, Aaron.
All right. Until his merciful decanonization along with the rest of the Star Wars expanded universe, Skippy played a huge role in the original trilogy. He was the droid which Luke Skywalker originally purchased from the Jawas in A New Hope. However, Skippy sensed that the Alliance would only survive if Luke and R2-D2 were united. As a result, he's self-destructive, which forced Luke to go back and buy the now famous droid duo from the Sandcrawler.
Okay, continue.
This storyline is far beyond unnecessary, and given that the original Star Wars movie is full of continuity errors and logical fallacies. Whoa! Him shitting on the originals?
Damn.
Oh, I never thought he would do that.
Neither did I. Oh, damn. The original Star Wars movie. We definitely have to talk about that. Anyway, finish it. Finish it.
It seems odd that this particular scene would be explored in further detail. Nobody had previously mentioned or given much
Even
thought as to why the first droid
Luke purchased.
Luke purchased malfunctioned, and now that Skippy and his Force skills are no longer canon, no one will have to. Okay, first off,
Well,
Skippy the Jedi droid was never fucking canon. So
never.
it was never decanonized. You cannot decanonize something that was always not canon.
Yep.
It's Star Wars in Tales, so it's Star Wars Infinities.
Yep. The Star Wars Tales comics were always non-canon, and there's some other label in them. So there's that. And Surastani said that yeah, they're not canon, so there's that.
So this does not count on your list since it never counted in the first place. And not to mention, there's
Yep.
actual force using droids in the new canon that are actually meant to be canon, unlike Skippy.
Ah, yeah, the evil C-3PO stated that droids can become force sensitive just by having a little bit of blood from living beings, basically force sensitive living beings, inside them, inside their circuits and their bodies, and that's how they become force sensitive.
Yep,
Oh, I love that they did that. I love it just so we can stick it up the asses of this Star Wars canon
yep.
fanboys. Indeed.
So
Oh,
in the
oh.
in the expanded universe, the droid
Mhm.
malfunctioned just because it malfunctioned, not because it was force sensitive. The droid was just R5D4, simply that, not Skippy.
Uh-huh. Yep. There's that. Indeed. Should we tackle the final paragraph in which oh he went against the big one, the one and big one, the original Star Wars movie.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
man. Oh man. That would surely give you a shit ton of dislikes for shitting on any of the original trilogy. Well, episodes 4 and 5 to be specific. 60
yeah.
has it has. So
It's
first of all,
just it's
oh sorry.
so surprising that he would even mention that there's issues with the original trilogy because there is.
I mean, there is issues, but continuity errors and logical are not those issues. In fact, if you okay, how can you claim the original Star Wars movie? Okay, how can you claim the original Star Wars movie has logical fallacies when it's the first Star Wars movie ever, the one that's introducing it? How can you fucking say that? First of all,
Exactly.
it's the first ever Star Wars thing, the first thing that ever. How can you say that has logical fallacies? That makes that is bullshit. You cannot say that because it's the one that fucking started this universe to begin with.
Just doesn't make
Okay,
any sense.
it doesn't. There's one. And second, continuity errors. If we go by the original movie in itself, uh, what continuity errors?
Yeah, he doesn't
Like
name a single one. There
there,
isn't any.
there isn't. There isn't. And if we go by the original trilogy itself, there's no continuity issues. This is just pure bull. So there's that.
All
Oh, and him
right.
saying you can now skip the Force droid, no longer canon. No one had to consider it canon to begin with because it wasn't.
It was infinities. Do your
Yep.
research, Tanner
Mm-hmm.
Fox. You know shit about the EU.
Yep. Oh, and speaking of knowing shit, let's go to the next one.
Oh, what is it? Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, from the Thrawn trilogy.
Oh, let's see what he has to say about the clone Luke.
Okay, let's go. Aaron.
Though there is a lot to like about Timothy Zahn's original Thrawn trilogy, there are a few more than quirky moments in them. Oh, sorry. That makes their decanonization a bit easier to bear. The plot of Last Command, the series finale, is a bit all over the place and almost makes the movies seem tame by comparison.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fucking right. Uh-huh, right. I'll say what you have to say when I
Wait, what'd you say, General? You cut out.
that I'm laughing at him saying that the last I'm gonna go like, oh yeah, I wonder how episode 9 is gonna do it. Doing that shit from what we've read is absolutely all over the place. An absolute
Exactly.
bullshit. So there's that. Anyway, continue, Iron.
The plot revolves around the so-called Dark Jedi, Joruus Sabaoth, scheming
Mm-hmm.
to take Luke and Leia as his apprentices. If Vader and the
Mm-hmm.
Emperor couldn't do that, then there is little reason to believe Sabaoth could. Though that is
Okay.
beside the point. Okay, so he puts the term Dark Jedi in quotation marks as if it's clear to me he doesn't know what that term means.
Uh, Jurosivav definitely was a Dark Jedi. He definitely was. At least one that definitely was using a lot of the darks. I mean, he was supposed to be the emperor. He was supposed to be the guardian of the emperor's Wayland safe house
Yep.
for a reason. So yeah, he might as well be a Dark Jedi first
And
of all. And
also,
what's
Tanner
up?
Fox, if you had read the Thrawn trilogy, he does try to tempt Luke Skywalker by
Hmm.
I think I do remember he like imitated Obi-Wan's voice telepathically, and then he pretended to
Hmm.
be a Jedi Master in
Yeah, at the beginning.
yeah.
Hmm. At the beginning. Though here's the thing: he's a fucking Dark Jedi that's been like on in all the time of the there in Wayland. So even, even if Vader and the Emperor could fail to turn Luke and Leia as his apprentices, George Devoff would not even know that Vader and the Emperor even tried that, unless Thrawn told him. But I don't think Thrawn even is still on that.
Mm.
So in his mind, he might as well do it. Why not?
And also, when he says so-called Dark Jedi, yeah, he is a
Lol.
Dark Jedi. It's a designation to describe Darksiders who aren't Sith.
Or used to be Jedi, but are now using the dark side almost daily.
So don't. So I can tell you're trying to smear that term, Tanner, but you're failing at it because you don't know jack about Star Wars and its lore.
Yep, indeed. Anyway, so let's
Oh,
go to
let's
the
get to the
juicy
big
part.
part.
Yeah, the juicy one.
When Luke finally confronts this Dark Jedi, he reveals a secret weapon, a clone of Luke Skywalker replicated from the hand Vader severed on Bespin.
Hmm. Yep.
Wielding the wielding the saber Luke lost in that same incident, the two duel for supremacy. This may have been a cool scene where the novel, or were the novel not essentially jumping the shark at this point.
Okay, so first of all, what I have to say about that moment in the books, I read it, and let me tell you, even though I knew of Lucas Skywalker, because unfortunately I spoiled myself with Wikipedia, I'm trying my best to not do it
Oh yeah,
nowadays.
same
Let me
here.
tell, let me tell you, that moment, it's still got me hyped. I was still surprised. I still wanted to see how it went. I was still into it. I wanted to it.
Me
And as and
too.
as for and as for jumping the shark at this point, let me tell you something, my friend. It's possible for Luke to have a fucking clone of Luke Skywalker. Again, it's the hand of Dark Saber. Now you're probably gonna say, "Oh, how did Darth Vader get it? This is way too much. How did he get it? How did he get the lightsaber?" First of all, the expanded universe explained it through a short story made by Timothy Son. First of all, there's that. And second, at least this is a better fate to what happened to Luke's severed hand and the lightsaber compared to episode 7, which doesn't explain shit
Yep.
about how Moss got the lightsaber. So there's that. And second, the Tron trilogy was the first one to introduce clones in the Star Wars expanded universe. If you eliminate obviously the mentions of the clone army from the original trilogy, but what I meant is actually introducing clones into the Star Wars universe. So seeing something like this makes sense. We could see it. We could see it happen. I mean, the Thrawn was using all sorts of clones for his stormtroopers, and George Sibal, I mean, he might as well just get a clone of Luke Skywalker if the real one doesn't really join him. Why not? It makes sense.
Okay.
And the duel for supremacy was great. It
Oh
was
yes, that
great.
was a great duel, and we had also great moments with Mara Jade in there as well.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Anyway, let's finish this so we can finish the paragraph.
What's worse is that the clone was given the totally laughable moniker of Luke Skywalker. Imitation may be the highest form of flattery, but this is just horrible. Star Wars is full of trite moments, and it didn't need an added evil twin plot thread. You know what I
Lol.
noticed? He doesn't actually have a legit reason why it's bad. He just says
He
it's
doesn't.
horrible without explaining. The
Oh,
reason
and
why Timothy Zahn spelled it like that was to differentiate it from Luke and his clone.
same goes for Jorusi Bao. So that's why he did it like that.
I mean, he could have said Luke's clone, but Luke's clone did this, Luke's clone did that, but it would kind of get tedious. So,
Yeah, just call him Luke. Well, I call him Luke. I know it's Luke Skywalker.
I remember
I don't
Evan
know.
Nova 95, he called it Lauk.
Mm, that's something. I mean, to be fair, I'm kind of mocking the name of the Luke Skywalker. I mean, I kind of understand because definitely the one you don't want to mock is the actual Skywalker. The clone, I mean, it has two U's, so you might as well name it almost however you want, as long as
Yeah.
it's how it's spelled. But yeah. And I like that he says imitation may be the flattery. This is just horrible. Oh yeah, like the Force Awakens with how it imitates a shit ton of Episode 4,
Yes.
and also a shit ton of the plot threads from the original trilogy is all sorts of replicated in the sequel trilogy. Oh yeah, I like that. And also fucking evil twins and clones are still being a thing in Disney Star Wars, by the way.
Oh, yes.
So Disney Star Wars is also not safe from doing this bullshit. And if they do bring this concept in Episode 9, according to Star Wars theories, fan fiction, well, not fan fiction, his thoughts on what Episode 9 is going to happen, if they bring some sort of Luke Skywalker or Rey Skywalker clone, oh, we're going to stick it up the asses of those EU haters.
Oh, yes.
Indeed. Remember, the clone army of the idea of the clone army in the Tron trilogy is gonna be in Episode 9. That is our so maybe we could see and the idea of Luke Skywalker. We'll see.
All right,
This-
let's
this-
go on to the next thing.
next. Oh, okay.
Number 6, Jackson.
Okay. I don't know if I can agree or disagree much on this one. I think it's a mix. So you want to read it or should I read it?
I'm going to read it. All right, Jackson the Rabbit is perhaps in contention with the likes of Jar Jar Binks and Boss Nass for worst Star Wars character ever created. A green
Okay,
Bugs
first. Oh, sorry. I
A
wanted to
green
mention.
Bugs
Okay,
Bunny look-alike, Jackson was a quippy, annoying smuggler who accompanied Chewie on a few adventures in the early Marvel Star Wars comics. Oh,
okay.
I know what you're gonna
Okay,
say. Proceed.
First of all, Boss Nass, worst character ever. What the? He wasn't even too. He wasn't even too much.
What is
He
it? Just
wasn't even
because he
doing
went
much.
brrrr, that makes him annoying or bad?
Apparently, even though it was just like 2 scenes in the entire fucking movie. Okay, that's just stupid. That's just drawing the line. Seriously,
And not to
that is just
mention,
insane. Hmm. What's up,
Jar
Ivan?
Jar and Boss Nass are not even close to the worst Star Wars characters now. Because I mean, we have Rose Tico.
And also Admiral L3.
Oh, you cut out.
Don't forget Admiral Genderstar L37. Yeah, the worst of the worst.
Oh man. All right.
Second. Iron.
Oh, all right. Here we go. Though these early issues were almost always completely nonsensical, Jackson and his insane misadventures may take the cake in terms of utter insanity. As a character, he is totally unlikable, combining the goofy, awkward appearance of Jar Jar Binks with the unfunny, offbeat wit of someone like Dash Rendar. Star Wars fans should count themselves lucky that this dumb misfire of a character never made it beyond the series' infancy. Sort of.
Okay.
Okay,
First
how
of
is
all,
Jackson any different from any of the weird Star Wars aliens?
mhm. Yeah, there's so many possibilities for Star Wars Alien.
Because, I mean, we have a freaking giant slug that's basically a mafia don.
The Huts.
So, how is it any different from something ridiculous like that?
Hmm. Yep, indeed. Not to mention, not to mention, you're saying that Jackson is basically the appearance of Jar Jar Binks with the attitude of Dash Rendar. I'm sorry, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I
I
read the
don't see it.
comic like a couple months ago, and he was nothing like Jar Jar or Dash Rendar.
Yep, he's
Nothing like
nothing.
them.
Yeah, so I don't know where this fucker got that idea from. Maybe his hatred for the prequels and to some extent the EU.
Yes. The
Indeed, so.
worst part is that Jackson, despite this is really good. Universal contempt from fans made it in some form back into series canon. The
Continue reading.
green furry rabbit creature made a brief appearance in the 2018 Star Wars Adventure comics, The Lost Eggs of Livorno. While most of his stories aren't considered to be canon anymore, it's unfortunate to think he's once again made a return to Star Wars. But still, but the fact that he
So,
still is canon, or he was made canon again, means you no longer have the right to complain about him. So why did you even put this on
lol.
here when he's back in the new canon? I know.
Lol. So that hypocrisy at its finest.
Literally.
Lol. Oh, and by the way, that comic is recent. It's also 1 year old. The one that introduced Jackson back. Oh my god, Jesus Christ.
All right. Let's see what they have next.
Oh, I think you're gonna hate this one.
Number 5, Impadageus Brand. Okay, why is he
Brand.
bad?
Well, I'll let you read this one. I'm pretty sure you want to respond to this because this is Dark Empire.
All right. The story of Impadageus Brand may end in hilarity. Hilarity? What the fuck are you
Yeah,
talking about? It didn't
he
end.
means
It didn't end in hilarity. It was tragic and
it
sad.
was it was tragic.
Like, did this dumbass even read Dark Empire?
He probably heard. He probably read a summary of it, but he never truly read the comic itself. Anyway, so continue.
All right, but he actually begins with a pretty interesting backstory. One of the few survivors of Palpatine's Jedi Purge near the end of the Clone Wars, Bran spent the years surviving the rise of the Empire on the run from none other than Darth Vader himself. Vader nearly destroyed Bran in 10 BBY on one of Nar Shaddaw's moons, though he was discovered and kept alive by the primitive Gananthan people.
Hmm. Okay.
Grievously
Continue.
injured during his encounter with Darth Vader, the Gananthans fitted Bran with a prosthetic body which was little more than a metal sphere. As a result, he looked completely ridiculous and it was difficult to take seriously.
Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh yeah. Looking ridiculous. Okay. First of all, what could he have done? That's the best Adam people could do, considering they're primitive. First of all, and second, you want to talk ridiculous, completely ridiculous, difficult text seriously? Oh, I'm so looking forward to seeing freaking Claude from episode 9. You know, that fucking banana slug that we saw in the I'm so looking forward to taking so seriously that creature that's coming in episode 9. I'm so looking forward to it. Oh yeah, that definitely is going to be much less ridiculous and much more easy to take seriously. Yeah. Oh my god. And if you want to count right now in Disney Star Wars that are already ridiculous, well, what about this? Fucking hot with robotic legs,
Or what
muscular
about
hot.
General Grievous with Admiral Akbar hat?
Yes, freaking Carvin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're right, Tanner. Yeah. And Pat to Yaya's brand definitely, definitely. We can't take it seriously because it's too ridiculous. It makes Disney Star Wars look so much better. Total sarcasm, the complete
Oh,
opposite.
yes.
And Pataya's brand's look is far more. I can take it seriously far more easily than any of, and than a majority of the Star Wars characters in Disney Star Wars. So keep that in
All
mind.
right. I'm going to read the last paragraph. He was
Yeah.
able to exact his revenge on the Empire. However, after the destruction of the second Death Star, Bran
Mhm.
joined the new Jedi Order created by Luke Skywalker.
Mhm.
This was actually a year before he officially created it. So
Yeah.
he did join forces with Luke. However, the new Jedi Order was not officially created yet.
It was created until the Jedi Academy.
All right. So anyway, whom he
Mhm.
accompanied in a final battle with the resurrected Darth Sidious. Before his death, he managed to capture the Emperor's soul and drag it away with him to the netherworld of the Force, from which it could never escape. Oh, he even says pretty cool story for a ball.
Oh my
I'm
god.
surprised he
Pretty
didn't
cool.
shit on the rest of that.
As in the entire Dark Empire.
Yep.
If this article had actually come, say, May or April, I would have seen why he, you know, popped this resurrection because that's coming back in episode 9. So there's that. But instead, he wanted to shit on this guy. So, okay, Iron, I'll let you talk. What do you think?
All right, the next one. Oh my
Oh,
god, number 4, the Sun Crusher.
oh, oh, fucking hell. Okay, I think this is my chance to read this
Yeah,
because
you can do it.
in this article, and I like Jedi Academy. Gotten a bit carried away with Star Wars super weapons when they introduced the planetary system-crushing Starkiller base in 2015's The Force Awakens. Oh yeah, that freaking super base that could destroy tons of planets in just one blast.
And it
And
was
by the rating
literally a
as
combination of several super weapons: the Death Star,
yeah.
Sun Crusher, Centerpoint Station, and the Star Forge.
Yep, indeed. So, okay, continuing. However, fans who found that to be many under expanded universe lore, as it contains super weapons that are much more ridiculous.
No.
So,
Starkiller
let's see
Base is
what.
far more ridiculous than any EU super weapon. Sorry.
Yep. And let's see what he has to say about the Sun Crusher. The Sun Crusher was a mysterious weapon which, despite being the size of an average fighter, was capable of destroying entire star systems by causing a star to go supernova, somehow outclassing even the most deadly star destroyers. The Sun Crusher was coated in layers of nearly impenetrable armor, and it could even sustain a blast from a Death Star super laser. Oh man, that's something. So let me finish this so we can go in
Yes.
detail. Fans have expressed contempt for the Star Wars film Guffins, but the Sun Crusher, had it appeared in any of the movies, would have easily been the worst offender. The first and second Death Star may have been intimidating, but this little ship goes far beyond that. Perhaps it will show up in Episode 9 as the ultimate unstoppable weapon to surpass the First Order's previous galaxy-destroying efforts.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did that.
Indeed, and considering that there are some rumors that maybe super weapon, maybe it will happen. But here's the thing I'm gonna say about the super weapon criticism in the Hispanic universe. Saying that there's many super weapons in the Hispanic universe. Okay, I'm gonna tell you this, guys. How many super weapons has they say Star Wars had since 2014, 15? You want a list? Because I can give you a list. I can give it to you if you want.
Yes, do it.
You want to have the count, Iron, or should I?
You do it.
Okay. First of all, we have the obvious Starkiller Base, as you already know.
One.
We have that. Then we have, which by the way is another weapon. It's another freaking weapon in post-Return of the Jedi, post-Return of the Jedi era of Disney Star Wars. Is the mother freaking what was it called? It was in freaking Battleship 2EA. It was
Operation Cinder.
Yes, Operation Cinder. Those thinking satellites that could literally destroy. They could literally destroy freaking an entire planet's weather system. Well, actually, causing all sorts of storms that can destroy pretty much everything in a planet.
So that's two.
It. That's two. And if you want to get more technical, there's also the super weapons, Rebel, like that temple in which Darth Vader and Ahsoka. That's another one. So there's that into consideration, and not only that, but there's also plenty of super weapons that are mentioned in a book called Star Wars: The Rebel Flies that says that they were in production by the Empire and could in some way actually come back. Because if you remember, the Empire, even in the Hispanic universe, in both, people claim that the Hispanic universe, the Empire has a fetish for creating super weapons. And then here's this book saying, oh yeah, the Empire still has that fetish for the super weapons. So that means that these super weapons could actually surface anytime soon in the sequel trilogy era. Oops. So there's plenty. And if you don't believe me, well, here's the number. Here's the names of some of them. The Mass Shadow Generator. Yep, that's one of them. Appears.
And that's even a ripoff from KOTOR 2.
Yep, but apparently they have their own version of it in the post-Return of the Jedi era of the sequel trilogy. So there's that. There's also the Torpedo Sphere. Oh yeah, those are also there. And
sounds like a ripoff of the Galaxy Gun.
Yep. Oh, and it was even mentioned by Daniel Wallace. Black Torpedo Sphere. Yep, in Western Games, it also appeared in there. There's that. And another one called an Electro Protobomb Defoliator, mentioned in Star Wars Rebel Files. So that book apparently has a good chunk of super weapons.
I think that super weapon it sound like the one from TCW.
Oh yeah. It's a similar one. So, we also include the ones that...
And not to mention, the super weapon was pretty much just a Bantam era thing.
It was a Bantam era thing. It was abandoned in Del Rey. So there's that. So yeah, this super weapon criticism is just absolute bullshit. Absolutely bullshit. Oh, and for the people saying the sun crash. Okay, what do you have to say about that, Iron?
Wait, what'd you say?
Okay, we should tackle that. Oh, apparently the sun crash. Power. There's no way to destroy it.
Throw it into a black hole. That's how you destroy it. That's how they destroyed it in the Jedi Academy trilogy. Spoilers for those of you who have not read it.
Or put it in a gas giant. Well, they'll never find it. You'd have to get it out. Grandmaster Luke Skywalker levels, or being a or whatever. But yeah, there's ways you can get rid of the weapon. It's not ultra invincible, as in it will always stay there. So there's that. So there's that, my friends.
Yep.
And also the Sun Crusher being so. If you ask me, it makes sense that the Empire would make super weapons to the Death Star. Come on, the Death Star was like one of the first ever super weapons. If they have far more powerful ones still in production or completed years after, come on, they will do it anyway.
Yes.
The Empire is one of those corporations in which they have all sorts of all sorts of fetish for having some of the more powerful weapons ever. And if they can design the most powerful to the point in which they can literally dominate the galaxy with an iron fist, of course they will do something like the Sun Crusher. Of course they will do it. So this actually, so yeah, it makes sense that they will have some sort of weapon like. I'm sorry, but yeah, they will do it. And seeing the plenty of super weapons in even Disney Star Wars canon, it means that yeah, even Disney Star Wars agrees with this shit.
Yep. So I wonder what number 3 is.
Well,
Beldorian the Hutt Jedi.
Yeah, from the Callista trilogy.
Well, that's going to be hard to defend because the Callista trilogy is.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. But yeah, so you want to?
Yeah, I'll read.
Well, I already read it. Do it.
Characters like Plo Koon and Kit Fisto may seem like dubious inductees into the Order of the Jedi, but they pale in comparison to Beldorian the Hutt, a Jedi Knight and likely the most embarrassing aspect of the Jedi Order, save for their near extermination at the hands of Darth Sidious.
Lol, embarrassing aspect of. Oh yeah, what about fucking Stormtrooper? That surely is not embarrassing.
Okay, so I don't really I mean.
I think we should finish before we respond.
All right, yeah.
Then.
Beldorian the Hutt was a Force-sensitive Hutt from Nal Hutta who was taken as a Jedi Padawan sometime around 400 BBY, eventually graduating to the rank of Jedi Knight. Beldorian was corrupted by the dark side of the Force during a mission to the planet Nam Churios, over which he proceeded to rule for many years. Renouncing his position as a Jedi, he enslaved much of the planet's population and lived in decadence for many years.
Well,
surviving Order 66, Beldorian was eventually brought to the attention of Luke Skywalker, who, along with his sister Leia Organa, traveled to the planet to end his reign. Initially captured by the Hutt's followers, Leia was able to free herself and defeat Beldorian in a lightsaber duel. All of this would make for some awesome fanfic were the antagonist not a giant space slug.
Lol. Some awesome fanfiction. Okay. So first of all, okay, yes, Beldorian. Okay, I do agree that silly having a Dark Jedi Hutt. To be honest, especially with Tales of Jedi. Tales of Jedi. Tales of Jabba's Palace saying that Hutts are technically cannot really be force sensitive because they're force blind or in some way. So they can't really have any way to become Jedi or Sith.
I thought it was just they were resistant to mind tricks.
No, they literally force. Tales of Jabba's Palace. One of the tales. So
I never read that, so I didn't know that.
I'll get them myself eventually. But anyway, so okay, I'll give you that. Yes, but kind of ridiculous. But to be honest, as ridiculous as this is, I'd rather see this play out compared to seeing the fucking muscular Hutt with the robotic legs, doing all sorts of one-to-one combat against the stormtroopers and having a necklace of lightsabers.
Because at least you can forgive that Beldorian is force sensitive, so it gives him higher reflexes. Whereas the Hutt in that one other comic is not force sensitive at all.
And he's using robotic legs, which makes no sense because the Hutts never needed legs to begin with. So there's that. And having a necklace of lightsabers that he could easily just get stabbed into his head or something. So yeah, this is just. So yeah, that's just fucking stupid. Okay, this makes no sense in the Hispanic universe. I would prefer that it doesn't get referenced, and thank God it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm glad it doesn't.
Yeah, but I would still prefer to see this over the bullshit that Star Wars does with their muscular Hutt with robotic legs. So at least I'll give that below. So
All right,
anyway,
what is number 2? Mount
Yes.
Sorrow? Oh, of course.
Yeah. Mount Sorrow. Hmm, 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 hmm.
Another product of the horrendous Marvel Star Wars comics, Mount Sorrow just barely escapes the infamous title of worst thing about the generally pretty awful expanded universe.
Oh,
No, it is not generally pretty awful. It's generally pretty good.
it's mostly good. Yes. There's a few bad things, but
Like
it's not.
90% of it is good.
Yeah, 80 to 90. So
Only
so
like
there's
10 or
that.
20% of it is crap.
Mediocre or crap. Yeah. So anyway, let's continue.
Mount
Let's
Sorrow
continue.
was a sentient mountain on the planet of Endor, though the subject of Ewok superstition and legend somehow found its way into Star Wars canon, featured in the much aligned or maligned comic Ewok 7, The Perilous Laughing Spell.
Mm.
The only readers able to genuinely enjoy this story must have been extremely young. Well, yeah, it was for kids.
And even if we take it as seriously canon, like scene. So
Wait,
there's
what'd you
that.
say?
I think you're gonna have to say it after you read the.
Alright, yeah.
So
The Living Mountain was famous for its healing tears, which it uses to heal the Ewok poet Tebow. Though in a constant state of depression, the mountain is pretty picky about who it will cry on, and it takes the length of an entire comic book to get him to help the poor Ewok out. This goes without saying, but this is a storyline which shouldn't have ever come within a light year of the Star Wars franchise.
okay, first of all, this story was mostly from the perspective of the Ewoks. You could say
It
we're
wasn't a
reading the
literal
rights.
crying mountain.
Yeah, it wasn't literally a crying mountain.
From their
Because
point of view, it was.
the
Because think about it. How would a primitive tribe see a helicopter if it ever flew above?
or a ship or something that's way out of reach.
And also, I'm pretty sure this comic was also S canon anyway, so
Yeah, back
it wasn't
yeah back in
literally a crying mountain.
yeah back in the day this back in the day and even all the way until comics for C canon, even though I have yet to read that. I want to confirm that. Even so, all the way into those years, it was S canon. And considering that it came out before the Tron trilogy, even if the Essential Guide to Warfare says C canon, you could still get around this, but just head canon into S canon if you want. You can still do this. So you can deal with this compared to Disney Star Wars, where you actually have a walking, talking mountain
Yes, there's
talking
a
to
planet
Yoda.
full of giant sentient mountains that can use the Force, and Yoda fights them. And that is literally 100% meant to be taken literal and serious in the new canon. Unlike Mount Sorrow, which was just
Yep.
Ewok
Um,
mythology and how they viewed the world.
yeah. That shit in Disney Star Wars, that is actually canon, and there's no way to circumvent it. No joke. There's no canon hierarchy. There's no specific rules on what is canon, what isn't, unless it's, I guess, dictated by Lucasfilm that this is canon, this is not, but they almost never do that. So, and it will be to specific things, but they never labeled that comic, or most of the Disney Star Wars is not canon. So, oops, there's that to consider. So yeah. So, oops.
So
Okay.
this your part on Mount Sorrow was complete bullshit.
Yeah. Finish the last sentence because
George
this is something.
Lucas may have made some pretty bad decisions in later years concerning the brand he helped to establish, but none were as bad as Mount Sorrow.
Oh god, pretty bad decisions.
Like what?
The only one I can think of is allowing to
and also selling Lucasfilm.
Oh yeah, selling the entirety of Star Wars to Disney. Yep, and Indiana Jones. So yeah, those are the only bad decisions. What other bad decisions? I think I know which is the next bad decision. You ready for the final one?
Oh yes. All right, let's see here.
Mm.
Number one is Waru. Oh my gosh. This is probably the only one on the list that can be actually 100% legit.
Waru.
Waru.
100% what?
This is the only thing that is like 100% legit in this article. I can say for certain that
Indeed. Want to read it or should I?
I'll read it. All right.
You want to?
Waru's story makes very little sense and is at the heart of the universally trashed Crystal Star novel by Vonda
You,
N. McIntyre. For starters, Crystal Star centers around the idea that a Jedi can lose his connection to the Force by watching a star slowly crystallize. I heard that he actually became depressed by watching the star die, and that's how he lost his powers. I don't know. I haven't fully read the novel, so.
oh,
This unfortunately happens to Luke Skywalker, who then takes it upon himself to join a cult started by an extra-dimensional gelatin monster in an effort to reclaim his powers. Waru is
this is gonna
extradited.
be.
Wait, what'd you say?
This is gonna be interesting because yeah, I can't dispute it. It's stupid, honestly. It's kind of stupid, to be
Yeah, it
perfectly honest.
is. But I'd
And
rather read this than,
the last
TLJ.
chapter.
TLJ's
Yeah.
novelization is way worse than the Crystal Star.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, this is yeah, indeed. So let's finish this.
So anyway, like I said, Waru was extradited from his original dimension through the efforts of Justice Hethrier, an Imperial officer who once served as an apprentice to Darth Vader.
Mm.
The gang of Han, Leia, and Leia's children, C-3PO and R2-D2, all quest to grant Waru's wish of returning to his home destination and to free Luke from the weird cult he joined.
Okay, yeah, this does sound extremely fun.
Yeah, it's just.
I can't disagree. This sounds like one of the worst Steven Universe books ever.
Oh, but look what he says in the next paragraph.
Oh, read it.
This is, needless to say, a terrible premise for a Star Wars story. Oh, I can't disagree there.
Yeah, but
And
read the
and
next.
it far suppresses
Suppresses.
the likes of off-lauded clunkers like the Phantom Menace.
Oh God.
The Phantom Menace is not a clunker,
It's not a clunker in terms of story. It's not a bad story. It's
but
actually,
it's a pretty good movie.
and it has a pretty good story. Even if you remove all the criticisms, the unbiased criticisms of the Phantom Menace, and even in the legitimate ones, the story itself is good. The story itself is good. There's no issues with it. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh, but he admits the Aftermath trilogy.
And Children of the Jedi, which is the coolest.
Well, I'd say, which is worse, Aftermath or
The Callista trilogy or the Crystal Star.
the Crystal Star?
Well, Aftermath trilogy is just going to be absolutely boring with terrible types of writing. Whereas, okay, to be fair, the Crystal Star also has share for bad writing, but at least you can laugh
I'd
at
say
how
they're
bad
about
it is.
almost equal to each other.
I'll give it this. At least the Crystal Star is more interesting to laugh at compared to Aftermath, especially with how Leia and some doctor or whatever were attending one of Chewie's wounds from a bomb, and were like, "Oh, they stopped time! How did they stop time?" I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. That wasn't there. Yeah, I do have to agree. Yeah, the writing in the Crystal Star is bad, but at least it's funny bad. Aftermath is probably shit. So anyway,
Barring
so
it from
let's
any
finish
true
this.
association with the beloved sci-fi franchise, Waru's Tale may be some of the worst fiction ever published, period.
To be fair, yeah, it is some of the worst. Though compared to Disney Star.
Oh,
Hmm.
the Crystal Star, like I said, is Citizen Kane compared to TLJ.
Lol, that's what Dark Novia during the Jedi. And to be honest, yeah, I agree. Oh
Oh
man. By the
god.
way, Iron, don't forget that one of these days we probably will tackle the Crystal Star. Okay, I don't. We will tackle the Callisto trilogy with
I
Dark
really hope
Novia.
we do the Crystal Star, and I really hope we get Dark
Oh,
Zenobia on with us.
oh. First, I need to get the books, but I don't want to buy. I don't want to buy them. I don't. I don't. No.
Well, you should just at least
No.
have it in your EU collection.
No. No. My EU collection is only gonna have decent to good books. I did screw up with the Sets of Deception and the Legion's Choice of One. Though I bet even those are probably gonna be okay. So no, I'm not gonna get shitty things. No. 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 No.
All
No.
right, so
That's it. Yeah.
yeah, that was Whatculture's almost totally ignorant article,
Yeah, almost. There's
except
like
for
only two.
Waru.
And Masters of Terrascasi, even though there was one paragraph was bullshit.
Yep, so yeah, this was really long, people, so watch at your own
Yeah.
pace and your own time.
Yeah.
So we will see
Anyway,
you people around.
see you later.